Hello, my name is Kari Waltz. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is a glorious day outside. I don't have any idea where you are. You can tell me in the chat if you care to, but in middle Georgia, it's mid 60s, partly cloudy, and just gorgeous. So I'm going to go outside when I'm through with this and enjoy the day, maybe even take my painting with me. Today is lesson 9. Can't believe it. Lesson 9 of You Can Draw. And our focus today is I'm going to show you 3 ways you can strengthen your drawing skills. Whether you're a beginner or you're a seasoned artist, these are good exercises for you to double check your accuracy. And it also helps you shift your brain from your left side, your logic language side, which I'm using right now, to my visual spatial side, which is my right brain. And when I'm working in my right brain and I'm working with spatial visual, sometimes you'll hear me stammer or maybe pause when I'm drawing or maybe not talk at all. It's because if I'm talking, my brain is frustrating itself because I'm trying to use my spatial visual drawing, but yet my verbal language side is coming out. So if you'll excuse the pauses of quiet if I need to so that I can focus on what I'm doing, it'll make sense. So if you ever are drawing and you realize, why am I frustrated? Well, first of all, are you in a conversation with somebody? Or are you listening to something that's language related, maybe a podcast or uh, something that you really need to pay attention to understand what's going on? Well, that might be something that's interfering with your drawing. So go ahead and get the drawing part over. And then when you're doing some of your shading and that kind of thing, then you can listen to the other stuff. But when you're really focusing on paying attention to the relationships of shapes and sizes, being quiet is a good thing. All right, so today I'm actually filming by myself. I'm trying to work on this so that when I get the feeling of doing something, I don't have to pull somebody else in to help. And the first thing we're going to do today is working upside down. Yeah, so when we work upside down, I know you can tell these are still flowers and sunflowers, but a lot of times when you shift what you're doing upside down, then your brain doesn't recognize it as much. And because your brain doesn't recognize it as much, it's not giving you those visuals. You're not calling it by name. You're not saying I'm drawing a vase or a flower or a petal. You're thinking more of, get all this in here. You're thinking more of that's a curved line, that's a shape, that's an angle, etc. So what we're doing here is I'm going to quickly draw this. I'm going to do it in pen. I'm going to also show you sort of a sketching method that I use where I'm kind of, we did that little bit of the thinking lines at the beginning and when I draw through shapes. So I'm using just a ballpoint pen. You don't have to have anything fancy for this. So I'm just looking at, there's a curve here, it curves over here, bends here. I'm not drawing heavy. I'm just trying to feel the line, so to speak. This is where I am right here. I'm using the black and white picture because I like it when I'm dealing with just the drawing part, especially if I'm going to come back later and shade. Now I see a shape here. This shape is almost a circle. It's not a perfect circle, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of feel where that is and kind of put like dots around. Those are going to be my reference points as to how wide this is. And I'm just going to kind of look at the shape, curve here, curve here. Some of them are closer together. I'm not going to worry too much about exact. Do not sit there and count those lines. That's just crazy to do that. Maybe want that a little bigger. And I'm not putting much detail in it at all. Then I come over here and I see that there's a shape back here that's kind of curved like that, comes in, comes around. There's bend here, comes up here. I'm not calling it anything. I'm just trying to look at the shape, and I'm trying to go fast too. So trying to go fast and look at the shape is not a nice challenge. And I see something straight back here, so I can just draw through it if I want to. There's a curve here, 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 and then it kind of goes out of sight. And then there's another line here, another bend down, curves up here. I'm going to see, okay, there's dots here. Sorry, not much of too much interest to talk about, but let's see. My mail just came. I heard the mail truck. Yay. For junk mail. See, I've got quiet when I have to pay attention to what's here. There's another curve, so I'm going to create that. And then I can put the points out here again, so I kind of know where I want to aim at. Do not try to make all of these the same. They're not, but just try to get a general idea of how far out they go. And then I'm going to come over here. Before I draw this one, I look here and see that there is a circle. I'm looking at this smaller circle here in relationship to the shapes here. It's approximately right there, so I'll draw that. It's sort of a circle around it. It's kind of dented there, so I'm going to just kind of dot in what's there. And I notice it's not the same length out from it, so it's a little closer in here. So I'm just filling in here. Some of these are more rounded. Some of them go in a different direction. And I'm really trying to look at what I'm drawing and almost not look over here. But that's sort of blind contour, but not totally, because I'm peeking. Then back here, I notice that this piece comes back behind here, comes out. It's really dark in here. Can't really tell what's going on. And if you want to fill it in like that, you can. And then it's like, okay, what do I see? Wiggles. And it kind of goes off the page. And then there's another row just slightly beyond that. Okay, so I'm going to turn it around now and compare and see how I did. Now, for a quick little drawing, that's not too bad. Now, my base is a bit crooked, so I can check that. One of the things that we're going to talk about today is symmetry and the lines of symmetry. And if I look at this vase, it's leaning more to the left symmetrically, because if you continue follow this up, so I want my vase to be a little more standing up straight. So I'm going to widen this part over here a bit. You don't see it much. And I'm going to curve the front. And as long as this bend right here is closer to me, then it's going to read better. Okay, so that's good enough for that. But to me, when I turn it upside down and I just pay attention to the shapes and the objects that the objects take with a curve, straight, angle line, then I can get a more realistic drawing. This is very loose and flowing, and I like that feel. If you just draw what you think you know, it might look like this. Well, I know my flowers are round, and I have petals that come out here. And you don't want it to look like you drew in when you were 6 or 10 or whatever. So you want to pay attention to what you see and really focus on that. So now, the next thing I want you to focus on, the next thing that you can work on is paying attention to your negative shapes. So we're going to now evaluate how I did here by looking at the negative shapes. And you might go, well, what is the negative shape? The negative shapes is where your objects are not related or not, where your objects are not. Right here is a negative shape. I'm going to just shade it in so you can see it better. That's this negative shape here. So honestly, it's not bad. Pretty good close-wise, so I can close it up a little bit there if I want to. I had a little more space between the stem here. I have negative space where that did not. So if I was really picky, I can move this over and close up that negative space. But then I'm looking at this negative space, this space between these. This is all negative space. And if I look over here, that's similar. That's similar. I'm happy there. Okay, here it tucks in a little bit more, so I can pull it in here. And just paying attention to what your negative shape looks like can sometimes help you where you're off in your drawing. There's been times when I was working on something and it's like, man, something's not right. And all I do, instead of looking at the object, I look at the space between the objects. And just shifting that thinking helps me see where I'm off. So even here, here's a negative space right here. And that's pretty accurate. I had a little more negative. I had these two touching, so I can change that if I want to. And again, this was just a quick sketch just to get you to see how drawing upside down can be helpful. Oh, also don't do this. I had my students turn this upside down, and then they tried to draw this right side up when their visual was upside down. Oh my goodness, that was a bit frustrating. So again, step number one, turn whatever you're drawing upside down. Draw it. You can do it loosely. You can use a grid. You can freehand it. I really like freehanding when I'm just trying to sketch. And looking for those elements of shape helps the freehand to me, because it's like, is it a curve? Is it an angle? What's it doing? Secondly, evaluate your negative spaces. Okay, so those are step one and step two. So hope that helps. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, find it, lines of symmetry. But I'm going to do another quick sketch. This one I'm going to be right side up, and I'm just going to show you again how to sketch quickly, and it doesn't have to be exactly accurate, but a lot of times it just depends on what are you sketching for. If I'm sketching this, which I am, I'm going to start with something that's closest to me. Now this one's actually closest because it's further down on the page of the photograph. This one's beside it, but because it's on the left and I'm right-handed, I want to start with what's on the left. So it's about in the middle of the page. So I'm going to start about in the middle of the page, and I'm just drawing with a ballpoint pen, and I'm just lightly touching. And what I want you to see is I'm kind of feeling where that line is. I'm just kind of laying it in. There's a curve here. Sorry. I'm not pressing down hard. And I want to get a feel for where that object bends. And I'm not doing as specific line drawing as in the previous lessons, because sometimes you just want to sketch something. So I want you to be able to be aware of that. All right, now I'm looking at the negative space between these two objects, what I just talked about. And the negative space is somewhere close to here between those two. and this one's a little taller, so I'm just going to draw through that line because I know this connects over. So drawing through is also another thing I could have mentioned that's helpful. Okay, so let's see, not quite, but there's going to be an ellipse down here, so I can just kind of rotate and feel for where that would be. I drew through this, even though the object is very light right there. I want to think about the center of this. I'm going to come up. I probably went too high, but that's close enough. And then, so because I did this center line, I can see on either side about how wide that is. I can double check this if I want to, see if the width is the same on either side, because both of those are symmetrical objects. So this next piece, I'm looking at how tall it is and how far up it comes. It's hard to see in the shadows where it is, but I'm going to put it about here and about up here. Now, here's another example of drawing through the object. It is a rounded object, the base is, and I know that I want this rounded, and I know that I want this rounded up here. So just, well, let's see, make it a little bigger, or either yeah, let's make it a little bigger. And then it comes up. Here's my line of symmetry. And so it's going to come up, it's going to flare out. Okay, so I'm going to create this ellipse up here. Oops, I can hardly see that. Sorry, let me draw darker. All right, so now that I have the lines drawn that represent my objects, and that didn't take too long. Oh, I meant to say maybe I said that. I'm going to show you something at the end that'll help you practice this. So now that I have the lines drawn that I want, I can go back and reemphasize the lines that I feel are the most accurate. And I don't mind also leaving those other lines. Now, if I did this in pencil, I probably would erase the lines of this vase in the back. But even if I didn't erase that and I wanted to shade this in pen, I'd probably put in some of the cut glass parts, at least indicate where that is, so that it would kind of camouflage what's in the back. And then we have some shadows back here that I didn't include, but whatever. And the line, your horizon line in the back, or your the horizon line in the back where the wall met the floor. So that's again where you could think of drawing through, draw a line, lift your pencil up, continue on. So now let's look at our negative shapes. Our negative shapes on here, again, I looked at the negative shapes between these two. Here, definitely negative shape because there is, now mine's a little fatter and squattier than what this shape right here, but it's close. And for what I'm doing today, that's fine. This negative shape comes down here and then up, goes on up. I'm happy with that because that's what this does. It gets a little narrower as it gets to the top because this widens up and this widens up. The negative shape of this is fine because I have this scalloped edge and then it goes on up. So when I paid attention to the negative shape between these two, it helped me know where to place this. When I used a line of symmetry to get a mirror image, to get a symmetrical image, that helped me line up either side. When I didn't draw it upside down, but that drawing it upside down is just another method. So what I'm focusing on today, drawing upside down, use of negative shapes or space to evaluate the accuracy of your drawings, and this line of symmetry, which helps you with mirror images. So I'm going to shift now and show you a way to really, really practice those mirror images and help you shift your brain to your right side. You take a sheet of paper, fold it in half, fold it in half again, and one more time. Okay. So here we have, I know you know, from that we have 8 pieces, 8 little rectangles. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line down my fold so I can see that easier. Okay, so we have 8 rectangles. I want you to take a ruler and I want you to find the center of these rectangles. So this is approximately the center of this one. This is center. It's close, it doesn't have to be exact. You just want to find the center of each section. And then I want you to draw a dotted line all the way down. You're going, what in the world am I doing this? You are going to practice making mirror images, and I'm going to show you how a mirror will help you check them. You're going to start in this first column. I want you to think back of the elements of shape. You're going to put a dot here and a dot here, one in the middle. We're going to connect these with elements of shape. So one element of shape was a straight line. So I might straight line. I might, let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see this up close. So the one section at a time, straight line, angle line, straight line, curved line, straight line at a diagonal, straight line, horizontal, curved line, and down. So I just used straight line, angle line, stopped every now and then, and went down. Okay? So I want you to do that to every section. So I'm going to do it fairly quickly and then just show you what you'll do with it. Make them large shapes to start with. Just straight, angle. That's kind of funky. They kind of look alike. To get more difficult, put a loop in. Okay, this is going to be a more challenging one. But still, do you see how large of strokes I'm making? Start here again. I'm going to move up for this one. You can do some zigzag, but don't do it all the same direction. Change the direction, the stroke, make it a challenge for yourself. When I taught middle school, I called these, I said, we're going to make some monster faces. And so I'd say, okay, do the forehead and come in and do a big nose and mouth and teeth. Okay, weird monster face. Anyway, continue on. So now what we're going to do is we are going to look at this and draw the mirror image here. Now, what some people do, and you will find yourself possibly doing this as well, I'm going to shift over here, is they'll go, oh, Well, this goes this way, this way, this way, over here and down, up, down, over, and down. No, this is not what you do. This was the same thing. If you can take your fingers and follow along the line, you know it's not a mirror image. A mirror image, if I go out and back in, if I come in, it's, you know, what was crazy, the first time I realized when I did mirror images, okay, here's a crazy one, okay. When I followed them with my finger, I could feel how they went. Because if you move your hands, you know, in and out, especially in large gestural movements, if you're, you know, standing up and you're moving your hands, if you move them out, you can move them out to about the same width. You move them in, you can feel it. You don't even have to look at your hands. You know that they're close together, further apart, but feeling, if I go out and back in and back out and back in and back out, I know that sounds strange, but it will make a difference. So first of all, let's look at here. Are you right-handed or are you left-handed? I am right-handed, so I drew mine on the left because I am going to be drawing on the right. And you're going to say, Kari, why didn't you tell me that to start with? I would have drawn them on the other side. Well, you did. Just flip your paper over. If you're left-handed, you will be drawing on the left side. You need your visual on the right side. So you can still draw it the same way. Just flip your paper around. Isn't that a cool news? Okay, if you've gotten anything out of this today, please give me a like or a thumbs up. Tell me if anything's helpful. Oh, by the way, those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much. I have over 260 subscribers as this was filmed, 266, I believe. All right, so what I want you to do, we're thinking line of symmetry. I know these look different than vases that we drew, but if you can do something like this in a line with line of symmetry, those vases will become very easy. So the first thing you ask yourself when you're looking at this right here is you say, here's my line of symmetry. What's over here must equal the distance to what's over here. So how far is that? It's about this far. What does this line do? It goes down and stops. And then where does it go? It angles back to about right here. If you need to put a dot to know where to angle back, then put the dot. Those are called reference points. Nothing's wrong with that. Okay, it comes down to here. How far away is it from the line of symmetry? About that far. So I'm going to draw that. Now, what does this line do? This line comes up, around, and back in. Up, around, and back in. Then down and in. I'm off a little bit because that's a little short. Out, back in, and down. Okay, let's try this one. This one's a little more difficult because of the curves. Start how far out away from your line of symmetry, and I'm going out, in, loop, and back out toward my line, down, up, around, in, and back out, in, out, in, and down. Okay. Ta-da! Aren't you excited? Now, what I want you to do is get a mirror. It's really helpful if it's a flat mirror. The line that you just drew, okay, the line closest to your mirror, the line you just drew, should be, okay, whoa. Okay, sorry. Pull it by the one that the one you were drawing from. This one, the line you drew should look like what you see in the mirror. So you put not on the line of symmetry, but the line beside the other one. Here's the line of symmetry. You can see the line of symmetry. And the picture, oops, sorry. The picture that's right here should be what yours looks like. the picture that's right here. Sorry, I had to look it up in the screen to see. Should be what yours looks like. If it's not right, for example, here, this one I know is wrong. So I'm going to go here. And this should look like this, and it doesn't. Whoops. This should look like this. It doesn't. It's opposite. So I know I'm wrong. So, again, be thinking of, which way does it go? If it's like this, it's not symmetrical. Know that if you're right-handed, you're going to draw on the left. If you're left-handed, you're going to flip it around so that your drawing is on the right and you're drawing on the left. Another thing to do with a mirror, I'm going to show you. I need to flip the screen and show you in person. Hello, it's been 30 minutes. Can you believe time flies when you're having fun? One other way a mirror is very helpful that also shifts your brain to the right side is by checking your work. I have a drawing that I did of a young girl a while back when I was working with I was doing sketches. I think it was a 30-day challenge, a portrait a day for 30 days. So if I had drawn this and I felt like something was wrong, what I would do is you can have your, if your artwork's on a easel and it's behind you, then you can hold up the mirror and look at it that way. For example, here's my artwork. I'm going to see the mirror. I'm going to look in the mirror and look at it that way. Or if you want to not be quite so obvious about it and you have your artwork in front of you, you can flip it around, sorry. Have your artwork in front of you like this, but then you can hold the mirror. I'm trying to show. Okay, here we go. There we go, the mirror. You can look in the mirror and see your work. And what that does is it gives you a flip view of what you're drawing. And I did that to a portrait I'm working on. And I realized after I looked in the mirror that one edge of the glasses of the person I'm painting, the frame of their glasses was slightly different from the other side. So it wasn't until I looked at a mirror that I saw that difference. And so now I know how to go back and fix that. So anyway, I hope something here has been helpful. And I do want to tell you, I'm excited. Two of my students who have been following along in these drawing classes are now coming in person. So thank you, Diane and Beth, for following me online and then coming to me and working on our drawing together. So it's a lot of fun to do that. I say a lot of fun too much, but it really is to me. If a day that I can create is a good day for me. So I hope that you have some of the same feelings that I do about that, and spending some time doing something in a creative way is beneficial for all of us. And then you can turn around and share it with somebody and teach them. So thank you again for joining me. I hope you learned something today. And remember the techniques: upside down, look for negative space, work with symmetrical objects and mirror images to help your drawings become more accurate and to help your brain shift to the right side, which helps. And I will see you next week for the final You Can Draw series, and then I'll go on to other things. I am going to be continue to post on Fridays. If you have any suggestions of something you'd like to see, please let me know, and I will put that on my list of videos to make. So I want to be here for a long time. Again, tips, tools, and techniques to the artist in you. So go find that artist in you, because I know it's there somewhere. All right, I'm going to go now. Y'all have a good day. In podcast. There we go.